What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy. You already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. Let me go ahead and get this thing rocking for us while we wait. Let's get this thing rocking while we wait. Go ahead and invite my guy. Invite to join. Let's go with invite rappers. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Yo.
There we go. There we go.
Yo.
What's up, my man?
What's up with you, dog?
Oh my goodness. Here we go. We better get it set
Man.
up. Yeah, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you great, bro. Let me
Wonderful.
get my little board.
That's
my
perfect.
little board thing. Hold on.
How you chilling? Oh, bro, this actually works out so perfectly. Yeah, this is gonna be the new setup. Oh, bro.
Oh, bro, my boy hype, bro.
Bro, I got so what I did was I have two monitors that I use my computer on, and I have a ring light. And so it's like, the stand with the phone, whatever, and
Right.
put the ring light behind my desk so that I could use the light while I'm on like calls, Zoom calls, whatever, with my little webcam. But bro, if I just move my monitors a little bit, I can put my phone in there too. And this is gonna be the new live setup, bro. Like I can just like this, move my stuff. Oh, it's perfect.
It's rap, bro. It's raps.
Yeah, yeah,
Gang.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro, man, bro. So what's up, man? What you was doing just before we hopped online?
Dude, went to the store to get some last minute stuff for mañana. Had to send some client info or some client assets over, and yeah, man, just getting hyped, getting excited, collecting my thoughts, kind of marinating, letting them marinate a little bit before our discussion. Just getting to it, man. How about you?
Hey, man, I was just working on the brand Perfect Brand Synergy workbook, and
Oh yeah.
It's been lit, bro. I made some changes and it's going down. It started out, I think it was like 10 pages, and everything was like boxed in and bunched together. Now everything spaced out, easier to digest, and I'm just gonna add a bit more content, and we gonna rock this thing, man. Going into 2023, I'm hyped, bro.
Sweet, man. That's what we like to hear, bro. I'm excited to see it. You got to keep me in the loop, bro. Let me get those sneak peeks.
I got you, bro. Trust. Man.
Okay.
So today, bro, we talking about the value of collaboration and just kind of breaking down, man, our experience together and teaching people how to do the same, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a journey, but like in the best way possible. So like just to kind of give a little bit of context, like this is the debut collaboration between myself and you.
Yeah.
And bro, like I am actually like I was not expecting to be as like moved and motivated by it as I was. Like there's a lot of times you work on things with people and like, I think oftentimes you can overlook all that it's really going to be, like it's not just y'all, going from point A to point B and you're doing it in the same boat. It's like you're creating the opportunity to like get to know each other that much better, to really like push the values that you share out into the world that much more. And like that's been the experience up until this point, bro. And like I'm so grateful for that. Oh, what's up, Raul? Hey, man, appreciate you.
What's cracking, Raul? Nah, that's lit, man. I mean, I feel the same way. Having done events for like a couple years now, man, it's tough. Working with different personalities and stuff. But bro, the biggest thing that for me I try to look forward to is just people who show up. You know what I mean? I've been in this position where you have the team and nobody shows up, and now you're there doing solo everything, bro. So I appreciate that. Above everything else, man, you collaborating and showing up. Like that's like the end of the day. That's what it is. You feel me?
That's love. But I gotta give you your flowers, man. I know I did at the actual event. But bro, you really like your love and just like intention going into it, like it showed every single step of the way.
Oh
And
man, bro,
like that's
bless,
just,
bless.
bro, it just speaks to your soul, man. Like it just speaks to your, like straight up. And bro,
Bless, bless.
like bro, it's like you laugh, but bro, I'm telling you, like a lot of people don't have that, bro. Like a lot of
Mm,
people, I think probably most people, like they are not going above and beyond
mm,
for like you couldn't even pay them to go above and beyond. You know what I'm saying? And
real.
for you to do it selflessly, just out of like the spirit of collaboration and like the spirit of pouring into the community, bro, like that's a very it stands out as an element of character. You know what I'm saying?
Damn,
So
bro. Gonna make me
flowers,
drop
flowers.
thugs here, boy. Drop one real quick. I'm good,
You
I'm good.
yeah, thug it out, thug it out.
Nah, yeah, that's lit. That's lit, man. So real quick before we dive in, bro. For the people who may not know you, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, Raph. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Josh. A lot of folks call me Rav. I am a video professional, video strategist. Work with a variety of different professionals and business owners to grow with video content. And besides that, I'm also an uncle, clearly son, brother, and creative soul. Love traveling, long walks on the beach, all of that. Um, Yeah, man. Like, I'd say that's holistic. That's what you need to know, man.
That's clean. That's clean, man. In case people don't know me, because I don't really put much online right at this point in time. So my name's Corey. Most of y'all already know what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
You on here? And what's up? What's up? How you doing? So I'm the brand champion, and people come to me for clarity and direction on their brand for personal and business development.
boy.
Pretty much everything that I do is around personal entrepreneurship through branding. And that's it, bro. Short and sweet.
He said we gonna keep it level, man.
Yeah,
Um,
fact, man. So tell
and
me, bro,
like I
what's
said, man, you just
damn, bro,
also
what's
just an
one
all around good guy.
bro, respect, bro, respect.
At all, at
I
all.
appreciate you, bro. Dang, I didn't expect all that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, man. So tell me, man, we've been rocking since early August, bro.
yeah,
In
yeah.
less than 60 days, bro, we ran through 9 different pieces of content, bro. 9 entries into the series, bro.
Jeez,
A lot to
bro. I
remember.
really hadn't considered, like, I hadn't framed it like that, but you're so right. That's wild.
Yeah, bro. We was running through it, bro. So what's been one of your highlights, man, from what we've created so far?
Bro, honestly, oh shoot. So I'm a
Yeah.
little bit biased. Obviously, the one that I did with Alan
Yeah.
was super cool as far as like mastering your video content. I just felt like we gave a lot of perspective, but I would say the one that we did about advertising with guarantees. I really
Mm,
appreciated that one just because I think it's one of those like it's an easy thing to fly over, you know what I'm saying?
right.
But we were able to really discuss it in a way that gave people options, but also let them know of like the dangers of playing in that arena.
Right.
I just don't think that most of the time anything good takes you to thinking through things in the way that like we really chopped it up. So
Mm.
yeah, that was really fun, man. But I mean, all of it was just like it was thought provoking for me. Oh man, when we did which one was it, man? When we were talking about AI and
Oh
like,
man.
you know what I'm talking about?
Oh no, I had to I had to put the list up. Hold
Yeah, yeah.
on.
Cause bro, we did so many. Like we really just ran through and touched on everything, bro. Like it
Yeah,
was
we
so
really
holistic.
did. We really did. I think that was dang, which one was that, bro?
Yeah, I don't remember. It's fine. It's fine. But
Definitely one of the big ones. I remember that because I think Kavan had submitted that question. He was like, "Well,
yeah,
what do you think about these things happening?" And we was just kind of sharing our thoughts on how it could be double-edged sword or it could be competitive. And we was going in, man, how we could leverage it to boost our brand and business. It was lit, man.
yeah,
It was
no, it
lit.
was great. It was great.
I
How about
think,
yourself?
man, one of my favorite concepts that we talked about was from one of your friends about bare maximums or Yeah,
Oh
bare
yeah,
minimum.
bare maximum. Yeah, shout
Bro,
out.
that was next level, man. And I've been really pondering on that a lot recently, just because like in business, man, we always have this feeling of limited resources,
Yeah,
and it usually feels like discouraging, like, oh man, we're without, or now we stressed about trying to find other things. But if we can maximize the bare minimum that we have, bro, like there's no telling of what we can accomplish or how much closer we can get to those additional resources, man, by
yeah,
maximizing what we have.
yeah. That concept
Um,
lives close in my heart too, man.
yeah,
It really
yeah,
does. And it's like it's one of those things that kind of easier said than done sometimes.
yeah.
Um, but it's just a mental thing, and like that's the beauty of it, is that like the constraint really isn't the resources. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that really ain't the limiting quality. It's just the way that you're seeing it, and like your perception of what you can do with what you have.
Facts.
And I actually feel like this experience has like we pushed that. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm,
feel like even just going through this whole series with you, like I saw my perspective about what I could do in my situation change, you know, because now
mm.
like we have this whole series on our back end. We've done an event in person. I've never done an event in person, you know, like
We did do an event in person.
you get what I'm saying? Like we deepen the relationships there. We put that under our brand's belt. You know what I'm saying? Um, we just, I mean, bro, like we just kicked it off with number one. Like as of right now, if and when you like you solo or I solo or us together do other events, they're not. It's not going to be the first. Like it'll be
Right.
events plural. You feel?
Yes, sir.
So that's been cool, bro. Yeah, that's
Yes,
been
sir.
really that's just been awesome.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I'm biased too. My favorite episode, because I think it just set the tone for everything, was feeding your bottom line, bro, and reducing customer frustrations,
Oh
man.
yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
those ones we
I liked
smacked.
that. That was a good combo. That was a good
That was
combo.
that was serious, man. Especially the reason why I think reducing customer frustrations was essential is because we covered all the bases, bro, about like shortening the distance. What it feels like from a business and from a consumer's end to transact in ghost, which is when you
Yeah,
collect the funds and you just leave them in the dark, man. And I'm like, man, I got to tighten up. You know what I mean? I need to
yeah,
make sure that I follow up with folks, even if it's, once a month or whatever. Like, I need to make sure because you want to keep that relationship strong because you never know when they're going to need you again, man. I mean, you never know who they might refer to you just based on the connection that you've been able to foster with
right.
the individual, man.
Or
So I was
not,
like,
because you let it die. Straight up.
facts.
Yeah, facts.
Like, fastest way to burn a bridge right there, man. Oh,
Straight
that's,
up.
that's, that's lit, man. That's lit. All right, cool, cool. So some of the key points, man, I've been really pondering on this collaboration thing. Quick side note. So something interesting happened to me yesterday. So my job relieved me of duty. I was in my 90-day trial, and I didn't. They said I wasn't the best fit for the longevity of the career there, which is totally
Wow.
makes it. It's reasonable for business. But one thing that really stood out to me in terms of collaboration is this formula of like it's for you to align with another business and kind of prospect who you want to work with. You have to consider these things, So you have it's potential divided by the expectation and the environment. You know
Mm,
what I mean? So let me
mm. The
yeah. So it's like
potential over the expectation and the environment. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So in business, it would be like what are my core values for my brand,
Yeah.
right? What are the core values of the brand that I'm looking at? Okay, there may be some alignment there. And then you take it a step further. Okay, what is their reputation in the community, right? What is my reputation in the community? So that those two things combined kind of give us this idea. Okay, we could potentially work with these
Yeah.
individuals. So then you have that conversation. You flesh it out and get a better understanding. Okay, what are some of your core principles, your operations? What are your promises? What are you delivering on? That's going to convince me that you're a good candidate for us to make sure we do business together and collaborate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's those are some of the factors that really stood out to me in that situation, which is applicable to business as well. So that's
Yeah.
that's kind of
And I give props to you, bro, for like looking at it and finding that, you know what I'm saying, and like internalizing that. Because you're right, like at the end of the day, like if you are working at a business, or if you're collaborate, like it is just another means of collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
um, and whether we know it or not, like anytime we interact with an entity or a professional, like in that, sorry about that.
You good?
Anytime we're interacting with a business or a professional in that way, like there is, there's like two lines that are being
Mm-hmm.
um, measured against each other the whole time.
Right.
And so ideally, like if you can recognize that and go into it and say like, okay, well, look, like this is where we line up, like this is where our line sits and this is where it's
Yeah.
headed, and make sure that in the ways that are important that's lined up, like it becomes a much, because I think if you don't have that, then as you're going about the process, like you'll hit bumps and you're just like, oh, that was strange. And it's like, well, yeah, like it was strange because you didn't know what you weren't looking for, you know, like,
Right. Right.
but if you
Facts.
knew, like, because I think there are sometimes even where you can go into it and you might recognize that, like, hey, we're not aligned in every way. Okay, good to know. Let's do it. And then as
Right.
you're going about it, like everything turns out great, and that wasn't a problem because it's what you were expecting. And
Yep.
that's another big thing, is just being able to have those expectations about like who the person or the people that you're working with are, especially in the case of an organization, like you
Yep.
said. What are your promises that you make in business? What are
Right.
the deliverables as far as character and
Yep.
experience that you don't compromise on? Because at the very least, it ensures that I have realistic expectations about who you're going to be in our workings together.
Yep. That's exactly, man. That's exactly the truth. And in addition to that is it's kind of like multifold, you know. So there's the alignment that's kind of like two dimensional, you know, 2 points. Okay, we have these things in common. We're connecting these dots. But when you bring things into focus and you have those conversations, if they don't overlap, you know what I'm saying? Then there's not going to be much synergy there. Like you said, you can totally choose
Yeah,
to continue to move forward, understanding the expectations of what's being brought to the table and what you're going to execute on. Another piece in collaboration is understanding, having and making sure you assign roles as well. You
yeah,
know, because nothing's more confusing than each party involved doing the same thing and nothing else is getting done. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like that's not very effective. Like I can't imagine if I'm a mechanic and I'm like, we're going to work on this car and you're a mechanic, and I'm like, I'm gonna work on the engine, and you're like, but I'm gonna work on the engine too. Okay, but who gonna change the muffler, bro?
right,
Like,
right.
how can we make this collaboration a success in its entirety if we haven't assigned roles and tasks to a specific person based on their skills?
Yeah,
So I think that's absolutely essential as well.
yeah. I think a big part of that has to do with so oftentimes, like, you know, within organizations, like leaders will have a hard time delegating sometimes, because it's it kind of attacks your ego a bit. And
Mm,
I think that that can sometimes be the case in collaborations as well,
that's real.
particularly like between brands. Sometimes when one brand wants to take a leadership position
That's
or a
real.
leadership role in the collaboration, but it becomes off kilter, you know, because
Mm,
like, okay, well, listen, like, you know, I'm doing the majority of this, and that's reflective in the fact that like the majority of the branding is mine, and like the majority of
mm.
the other party or parties in the collaboration are like, but like we could do this, like we could help you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, fact.
the things we could understand if like we were incapable of doing some of the things that need to get done, but we're not.
Mm.
So like let us please and thank you. Um yeah, that's tough. And
Yeah.
as far as like just trying to do the same thing, I think that's just a matter of having a plan. Like when you know you can't assign those roles and those tasks when you don't know what they are. And I think that's probably the biggest like critical point of potential for failure if you're collaborating,
Mm.
is when you don't go through the motions of literally reading through, like breaking down what needs to get done. Because
Right.
it's very easy to go into it and just be like, oh, we got to do this, whatever, whatever. And then it gets taken care of when it needs to get taken care of. And I work with organizations like that all the time, bro.
That's real.
I mean, cause bro, like a lot of sets, it's just collaboration on a project. So you'll have like, you know, the grip guys and like the key guys, and then you have like a
Right.
company that's coming in for lighting and like whatever. And
Mm.
the beautiful thing there when it goes well is that everyone knows best what needs to
Right.
happen in their role. But when you have multiple people that are capable of doing the same thing, oftentimes I'll see people are just like, oh, well, as long as I have enough skilled people in the room that can do all the
Mm.
things that need to get done, it'll get done. It's like,
Wow.
well, no. Like,
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
it'll probably get done, but like you also need to focus on and curate the experience in getting there, right? Because
Mm.
very big difference between if it gets done haphazardly, frustratedly, seconds before it needs to be in place, as
Right. Last
opposed to
minute.
it gets done and it got started when someone walked in the door because they
Right.
walked in knowing that that's what they were going to do. Very different.
Mm. That's facts, bro. That's facts, bro. That's facts, bro. I mean, another thing that you touched on, man, is trust, bro. Trust is huge, man.
Yeah.
You have to foster. It's essential to foster a relationship of trust, man.
Yeah.
Because a collaboration essentially is two entities depending on each other to create something new. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whether that's an experience, a product, or a service, or a resource, or a webinar, or what have you, whatever this thing is, it's dependent on each individual's contribution to making this thing successful. So they have to trust each other, you know, whether a contract are involved or not, that each person is going to hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if not, it need to be communicated so that way we can you can put things in place to ensure that it doesn't fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Um,
But I actually think one of the best things that you can put in place to ensure that like everything goes everything moves in the direction that it should be is just ensuring that the collaboration makes sense from the front end. And what I mean by that,
mhm.
say make sense is not like, oh, what's up, Trav? When I say like making sure it makes sense, I don't mean um, logistically, so to speak. What I really mean is like everyone that's involved in the collaboration should have a vested interest in seeing it succeed.
Right.
And when that is not the case, or when there's a an imbalance between how vested one party is versus another party, I think that can compel people to try
Mm.
and adjust how much or how little they give because they
That's
feel
good.
like they're getting more or less. You feel me? So like as you and I
Mm.
have gone about this collaboration, right? Like it's been an equal opportunity for both of us to continue to refine our skills, right?
Yeah.
To get connected with more individuals, to showcase our expertise, to
Mm.
build our brands. You know, like it's been a mutual opportunity on both ends.
Right.
Now, if it was less of an opportunity in those ways for you or for me, like
Mm.
I think because the kind of people that we are, we would
Right.
still show up. We would still do all the things that we agreed to do.
Mm.
But like that is when there becomes more opportunity for someone to be like, well, you know what? Yeah, like that's cool, but I got this thing over here that's like a big opportunity and like
Right.
I only have so much time. Well, you know what? Like it's cool if I can, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I can step away from some of the stuff that I said I would do over here because it's not, I mean, you know, I'm not even eating off of it. Like so
Yeah, I get what you're saying though.
to try and avoid that, like that thought process from even happening, like I would just much rather like come into it, sit at the table with whoever I'm looking to collaborate with and be like, look, like what do we want to get out of this? Right?
Mm.
Let's get somewhere where that's settled and then let's just go and execute on it. Because the crazy thing is sometimes the things that people want aren't going to be the same, but they're going to be equally valuable. You might need
Mm.
brand recognition over money, right? But I
Right.
might need money over grant or over brand recognition. And
Brand
so like
recognition.
we could come into a collaboration like that and you could say, well, hey, listen, it's going to be branded as ours, but you're going to do the logistics of it and we're going to pay you for it. And that's going to be the
Right.
collaboration. And I'll be like,
Right.
dude, if I'm in the position I just described, hell yeah, like that's perfect.
Right.
So just having that conversation as opposed to assuming that everyone's going to put the same outcome on the same level, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
it's simple, but it changes the experience, like going through to the
That's
end.
facts. That's facts. That's facts, man. That's absolutely right, man. I agree with you 100%. So that kind of goes into the element of having a team, you know.
Mm,
So far we've talked about, you know, you want to build trust, you want to build trust, make sure that it actually makes sense to collaborate with someone.
yeah,
In order to in order to flesh the sense out of the idea, is to, you know, consider the values of your collaborator, potential collaborator, consider their character and how well they're representing and delivering their promise in the community. If all those things align, you move forward into that conversation where you're going to see what is the exchange here, what is the value that each party is going to receive in equal or greater benefit. Definitely discuss cross marketing because that's essential.
yeah, yeah,
Essential,
yeah,
you know, but and just kind of flesh out what that agreement looks like, you know. And then from there, once you have the agreement and everybody's on the same page, you know, you want to make sure that you guys put a plan in motion and execute. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with all the points that we've made so far. So now let's get to like event day.
yeah. Let's do it.
um, so for me, it's a preference. But I would recommend to everybody listening or tuning into this, whether live or to recap, if you're going to do an event, try to have at least two volunteers, depending on the size that you're going to do, as well as depending on the duration of the event as well.
Yeah,
Because even if it's a small thing, it's going to require a lot of attention, a lot of attention.
yeah,
Something that's very simple but gets a lot of people is like a sign-in sheet. You feel me? Like check if you have a check-in process. If you're hosting the event and you're also checking people in, and then you also brought, you know, you also have some deliverables that you want to hand out to people, you know, that we all agreed on, and you're doing all this by yourselves, you're going to be overwhelmed come time to actually start teaching because then you're going to think things going to be out of place, and it's those little things that go a very, very long way. In the past, I've hired people. If it's a 3 hour event, I'll pay them like $50. If it's a 4 hour event, I'll pay them like $75. Because I'm big on, you know, paying people for their time because I don't want nobody to come back like, hey bro, you remember I did that for you? Not that
yeah,
it's a fear, but at the same time, I don't want to eliminate that. People are maybe having to take the day off work, and I want to respect them with compensation for their time.
yeah.
So that I think that's super important as well. Understanding what your capacity is when it comes to the event day and what your role is going to be.
Yeah. One of the things I think, and just before I speak over the event, shout out
Mm-hmm.
Micah, man.
I see you,
Thanks for being
man.
here, bro. It was great meeting you then. Yeah,
Representing the consulting code, man. I appreciate you for
so
tuning in too.
oh yeah, man. So the event was beautiful, like being able to meet folks, and like it was kind of like at some point I don't think anyone noticed, but like I was kind of getting a little emotional because I was just like, dude, like this is
Nah.
really, bro, bruh, I really never thought I was going to be able to do anything like that in the city and like have
Whoa.
people come out and like that's not the perspective of the city that I had coming up here.
Mm.
And like I would go other places, like when I lived in other places, I was always like, man, like this is not going to happen in Orlando. You feel me?
Mm.
But that's clearly not the case. Um,
Facts.
so it was great. Like it was awesome in that front. One of the things, just reflecting on like, something I wish I had done or thought of that
Okay.
I think would have been helpful in curating the experience.
Mm.
Um, I really when I bring people together or when I'm around people together, like uh, it's always very important to me that everyone's time, energy, and
Mm.
perspective is
Mm.
acknowledged and given an opportunity to be acknowledged.
Respect.
And so I wish that I had kind of thought through and better curated, like an environment that would have allowed that for everybody. across the board, because there were so many, particularly like with your worksheet that you did with kind of building out that brand superhero. I
Oh, the
loved it.
brand superhero, man.
Bro, I loved it, and everyone had so much fun doing that. And
He was cutting up.
I wish everyone had had a chance to share what they had created to some extent. You know, I think we opened it up, and like we invited folks to kind of express that. But even if it had been like amongst, you know, with their neighbor or like something like that, because I feel like there were some gems and like just little pieces of themselves that like they had put into these little elements. And personally, like I even now, like, yo, I'd be in bed, I'm like, dude, I wonder what was on they toolkit, bro. Like, I wonder what was on the utility belt, dog.
What
Like,
the smoke?
I'm so curious. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, like
I
I
feel you,
want,
bro.
like, moving forward, bro, like even just in personally, you know, like that's something I want to be very intentional about, is just like, especially if I'm prompting folks to create something or to think over something, like I want
Yeah.
to connect with those thoughts and like the product of that process, because you know, people pour into that, like they pour
Yeah.
themselves into that, and it's just cool to bear witness to. So yeah, that's just a thought of mine, reflecting over it.
Honestly, bro, like before we get back to, team and event day, um, this is what you just expressed is literally my favorite part about collaborating. Is that it really stretches the dream. It physically makes the dream work. Like you have to stretch it. You have to think outside the box sometimes, and really articulate like what is your vision and how does it fit. You know what I mean? How do we collaborate? How do we bring our ideas together? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Curate an experience like you said. But that's a tangent, but what I was gonna say is my favorite part about collaboration is seeing how how many doors and how much more open life seems for people who haven't done events before, man. Like
yeah,
you now have an experience under your belt, like you explained, that you maybe didn't even think was gonna be practical in this season. You know what I mean? And just
straight up.
as a witness, just seeing you like put your heart in it, you know what I mean, and going up and talking and sharing your piece, and bro, you held it down, bro. Like on your first time, I'm just like, man, he probably didn't even think he was capable of this, and he's natural at it, you know. I'm just like,
That's love. That's
man,
love.
just seeing people come alive and just thrive, man. That's my favorite part about collabing, man. I love that element, just seeing people be themselves, bro, because that's essential.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a chance to just to shatter like limiting beliefs, you know what I'm saying,
Mm,
about like how you might be received or what might be valuable to someone.
mm,
There's some art. I wish I knew the name of the artist, and I feel poorly that I don't. But he makes
um,
art that's meant to express like the shared thoughts that people have without knowing it. And so like
whoa.
it'll be like a dude, like a homeless dude, and a dude in like a Mercedes pulled up next to him, and
Mm,
both of them have like little thought bubbles that lead up to the same thought bubble, and it's like, I wish I had more money, right?
mm,
Or something like, um, you know, two people that kind of like litter, and they're
mm.
like, oh well, I mean, like if I didn't do it, someone else would. You feel me?
Right.
And the
Absolutely.
reason I mention that is just because like I feel like there's a lot of thoughts like that we have around like the knowledge that we have or the perspective that we have, especially like for creatives. And we assume that like people don't think the same way, or like people wouldn't find that valuable, or like people wouldn't engage with this, they wouldn't get it, like I would be looked at poorly for this. And that's just
I'm
so
taking
rarely
notes, so
the
just
case.
so everybody's on the same page. I'm taking notes, so
Oh, facts,
so I'm looking
facts.
off camera. I
Yeah,
just gotta make sure everybody
good,
know what
yeah.
I'm doing.
But yeah,
Not a
like I, you know, being in that room with folks and being able to kind of go through the process in the way that we did, like, you know, it did a lot of that for me, like just giving me the opportunity to really confirm for myself, like, yeah, man, like, you know, the way that you're seeing this and like the expertise that you've developed over time, it's
Mm-hmm.
not wasted, you know, like it's not undervalued. You just have to share it. Like you just have to create the circumstances or take advantage of the circumstances necessary to share it, and do so from a place of empathy and like genuine care for the people that are in the room with you. And bro, it's received, like it really is. And so I'm really grateful for that. Like that was unexpected.
Man, you're right, bro. I mean, I'm very glad that that was the experience that you had, bro. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
that,
truly honored to support and assist in your realization. You're coming to that you're the GOAT out here. That's where it's at.
that's love. That's love, bro. That's
That's
love.
where it's at. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. So okay, so back to event day, be intentional from the front, and then at the event, be conscious. There you go. Be conscious on event day about the shared space, whether
Yeah,
that's a discussion, whether that is an activity like an actual worksheet, some type of thing, is to foster connection between yourself and the audience, amongst the group. So between the audience and themselves, have them interacting with each other,
yeah,
and then give everyone an opportunity to share. I think that is very essential as well, on the
yeah.
event.
And just to like clarify on sharing, like even if it's with each other,
Mhm.
or like in some like I don't want anyone to feel like, oh man, like you guys just dragged this cool thing out of me and like I didn't even get to I
Mm,
didn't get to express it really. You feel
yeah,
me? Yeah, just finding some means and like putting some intention into curating that. Yeah.
yeah. I'm writing all these notes. I can't wait to
It's
run
lit.
through.
Oh, yo, so just wait until V2, y'all. Just wait
Ooh,
until
hold on,
V2.
bro.
Oh my
You sure
goodness.
about that? You
Oh,
sure you want to do that now, bro?
dude, I just ain't
You want to
sure.
put that out there right
I just, I mean, hypothetically,
now?
hypothetically
Right.
speaking, if it
Eee.
was a V2, it was gonna be dangerous.
That boy funny. That boy funny. So yeah, I mean, just being able to the other. Okay, so post event now is living with the shared experience with other people. Um, did you see the testimonial or shout out that Mackenzie gave us on Instagram, bro, on the story?
Honestly, I don't know that I did. It might have been while I was sick, and I'll tell you
Oh
what,
yeah,
dog.
true.
I was
Yeah,
not on it, bro.
you was
I
out
was, man, oof. I was
there.
Planet Nine. Like it was bad. It was bad, dude.
Yeah,
But
but
that I
Mackenzie
didn't
was
even know she did that, bro. That's so.
yeah,
Oh,
man. She was saying like she's super thankful for the experience, man. She had a wonderful time and she gained a lot. You know what I mean? Like through collaboration, we're able to create opportunities for people who might not have access to. You know what I mean?
dude,
Um,
I got a leak in my ceiling
you
dropping
know,
on
like,
my cheeks.
but that's a huge benefit of collaboration, man. Like this is collaboration is essential, man. But that point in itself is beautiful. Like I'm thinking back for myself now as a consumer, the events that I've gone to and the experiences I've gained and the knowledge, the insights that were shared on those days. I'm just like, man, shout out to everyone, for who's hosting events for the intention, not of only creating revenue, but actually elevating and impacting the community.
Yeah.
Because that message has to be communicated very clearly, man. For sure, man. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think about the opportunity of collaboration?
I definitely think it's one of those things that I myself probably assumed was behind more prerequisites than it actually is, right? Like I assume
Mm,
for you to take advantage of that opportunity, or rather um, for you to see that through, for a long time before we did this, I assumed that that was possible once you were making a certain amount,
Mm,
or once your name carried enough weight,
mm,
or once people had enough of a reason to care about you.
mm,
And I think if you look to go about it in certain ways, those are probably true. But if you really look to do it from a place of just like serving the people that you can serve best, it's not like you can do it with anything, bro. I remember I went to an event a couple months ago at this point in August called the Powerhouse Creator Summit here in Orlando.
right.
And there was a gentleman there by the name of Pace. Everyone
Okay.
calls him Pace. Actually, pretty sure that's his name. But Pace is he's a real estate dude. So he does a lot of like wholesaling, real estate. He's actually like one of the best at it in the country.
Dang.
Owns like
Okay.
he's a partner in one of the biggest like wholesaling education companies in the country. Like he's
Uh,
big time. But he was telling the story of kind of like how he started, and how after he started wholesaling his first couple cribs, like he wanted to start teaching people how to do it, but like really
mm,
didn't have a space for it, like really didn't have whatever. I think he ended up losing like a lot of the money that he had made doing it from something. And so
mm,
what he did, long and short of it is, he started hosting meetings, like meetups about it, with like a whiteboard in a vacant parking lot. Literally,
wow.
like whiteboard vacant parking lot at like 6 in the morning. And like you would just sit there, and at first it was with like two other people, four other people. And like he'd sit on the back of his car with coffee, and like they'd bring foldable chairs and they would just sit and talk there. And then at some point it got to the point where it was literally like hundreds of people, and they had to buy parking at the parking lot next to the vacant parking lot so that they could go stand in the vacant parking lot and just
Yo,
like talk it up. And so like it was one of those things for me where
that's practical,
that,
bro. That's
bro,
crazy.
that was like the first seed that planted in my mind, like, yo, you don't need what you think you need, dog. You know, like
Mm.
it can really be coffee, chalkboard, concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like it can really be that
It's
simple.
really that simple.
But I think what I realized, bro, when I like as I really thought through that, and like I wondered in my mind, like, yo, why is there such a disconnect there? Is because especially when it comes to like events and like things where other people are gonna see you, I think like it's really easy to do that from a place of ego
Mm,
and see it as an opportunity to be like, oh man, like I'm gonna have a bunch of people coming in the room to see me, look at me, focus on me. And so I want to make sure
mm,
that everything is pretty and pristine. I want like the biggest boardroom. I want like the biggest
mm.
decoration. I want the flames, like all of that. But
Right.
like,
Flames,
people
bro.
will see that, right? Like people will see that and like it'll catch their eye. But I think the thing that really connects with people and makes it worth it is when you make it about them, and like
Mm,
that gets felt. That gets felt if you're sitting in a cardboard box, you know? So
mm,
yeah, that would be the biggest thing, is just that like I realize now that when it comes to that opportunity, like it really is an opportunity, but it's an opportunity in the right way. Like if you see it as an
mm,
opportunity to like glamorize yourself and like rise up the social ladder, like that's
mm.
probably where a lot of opportunity for negative feelings and like negative occurrences goes down. But
That's
if you
real.
see it as an opportunity to like serve people and get better at serving people, like bro, it's just beautiful. Like
That's
bro,
good,
I
man.
have no type of like negative feelings about like the money that went into that event, or you know what I'm saying. Like I don't look at that and be like, man, I ain't getting anything out of that. Like whatever. It's nonsense.
Right.
I got so, you feel me. But I
Yeah.
feel like if I had gone into it thinking like, oh man, like this is gonna elevate my status or whatever, I could be
Mm-hmm.
on the back end of it like, man, like, ah, man, I didn't get enough people to come. Like I
Word, I
didn't
feel
get
that.
you feel me? But it's just a matter of what you're expecting and like what your intention is going into it.
Mm. That's real,
We have
bro.
the right intention, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think, bro, when you have the right intention, like you can't lose. Like you
Mm.
literally can't lose, you know?
That's real.
But it's crazy because you could experience the same thing that someone else with a wrong intention experiences, but they feel like they lost. You
That's
feel
a good
me?
point.
Like it'll be the same experience that y'all went through, but the frame of mind is so different. So like that, I'm so happy that like we kept that, and like that's who we are, because we can't lose. Like you
Not
can't
fact.
lose with that, bro. We could put 5K into an event and have one other person show up, and
Right.
like L on that. I mean, if that happens, we might want to evaluate some things, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Have to have some
it's not because
conversations.
we're not taking a loss there, bro. We are not taking a loss.
Right.
Not at all.
Right. Right. Another thing, a good point that you made as well is the idea of doing things for free, bro. Like,
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
feel like that's something that can get in the way of a lot of people, especially, I mean, whether it's big or small, the size of your company, whether it's a large event where there's a lot of money put into it and you're expecting a specific numerical ROI, that could definitely taint, the outcome, as you were saying. If the intent is for vanity, then it has more opportunity for ruin. At least the experience can become soured quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that's essential. Because when we first started, what I mean, we did kind of have that frame. Remember way back, like early August,
Yeah.
was it even maybe even before that?
Yeah.
Um, Before we even thought about the brand mastery webinar, before it became the brand mastery mixture, you know what I mean? Before we started doing lives and really building this idea, and building this brand around brand mastery,
Yeah.
we were thinking like, man, we want to collaborate and do good and elevate the people, but we also wanted to come out on top financially. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But what happened was, as we started to move closer and closer to the event day, the original event day, right? We'll talk about that at another time, because
Yeah.
we had this whole plan. It's just interesting because that was like, okay, let's charge this amount, let's have these particular things, let's set this particular revenue goal. But then once we started to flesh out the idea and get closer to it and understand the truth behind what we wanted to do, then, because we wanted to have to postpone that event. And then everything just transformed. Then we was like, nah, we just want to deliver value. We can care less about the capital. It's our first one. At this point, we just want to elevate and help people. And from
Yeah.
that point on, bro, everything was smooth and seamless, bro. So
Yeah.
it's
Different.
really interesting to understand do a compare and contrast of the before and after, right? When the intention is unclear, we can even start there. When the intention is unclear and there's a lack of communication, then you lose your sense of direction, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a clear goal in mind. You don't have a specific outcome. But
Yeah.
once you arrive to a place through communication with your collaborator, your partner, where you're on equal terms on what you want to gain, what's the most important, for each partner, like we discussed earlier, then everything will move a lot smoother because you now have a direction or a compass to guide you and your partners to success. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think that is essential. Do not neglect, if you're listening to this, whether you're big or small, if you're doing a beta, you want to start doing something to expand your reach, do not neglect doing something for free. Just
Yeah.
make sure it's a scale, at a scale that you can accommodate, and it's a loss that you're comfortable with if you're thinking in that frame of mind, for sure.
Yeah.
I
I think
absolutely.
as far as like charging for events that you're host, or like access to the
Mm,
result of a collaboration that you're
mm,
doing, like I think the biggest thing, to put it in one statement, is like just drawing attention back to the fact that like the money that you collect is a byproduct of the value that
mm.
you create. And so depending on the framing of the event, sometimes that value isn't there for the person that's going. So for example, if we
That's
had
real.
done if we had created the brand mastery networking event, right? And we had charged $15 for it. For the person that's looking at that on Eventbrite, they're thinking, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to this event that has the purpose of creating a room where I am going to likely meet someone else that I could potentially do business with or whatever, be a valuable connection. Is that worth $15? Some will say yes, some will say no. Yeah, that's a fair toss up. And
Right.
when we were going into it originally, it was going to be like an educational sit-in, right? It was going to have pretty high, like just under 3-figure price point, and
Right.
it was just going to be about soaking up game. And I was really thinking about it after the fact, and I realized, like, okay, we got game, obviously, but for the person that's on the end of that screen reading
Mm.
that Eventbrite, they're thinking, okay, so it's these two random dudes that say they know about whatever it is they say they know about, and for $80, I'll be able to sit in the room and listen to these two random dudes.
Right.
And it's far less compelling because they don't know
Mm.
who, they have no reason to believe that the amount of money they're going to give us is going to be outsized by the amount of value we're going to give them. And
Right.
so I think I was just trying to like follow the blueprint that bigger dogs have followed, but I'm
Mm.
not a dog. You get what I'm saying? And
Right.
so you play it differently. And like I think this is just an easy mistake for professionals or like starting out business owners, including myself, to make, is like looking at the big dog and being like, I need to play like them, and not knowing that when they were you, they didn't play like them.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, they played a totally different way, and you got to play that way.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, like I think we kind of just we went a full circle in getting there. But
Mm.
I am so grateful for that. Number one, because we still got the exercise in, you feel me?
Right.
Which is super valuable as far as like thinking through, okay, well, if we're gonna have this price point, like what are the things that make that justifiable? What are the
Right.
things that we want to be able to deliver at that level? And number two, just because like it gave us more touch points and more
Mm.
contact, and like it made us realize, because even if we had done the event like we had originally expected and planned to, I think we would have been underprepared.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I don't say that because of like our material or whatever. I think logistically we probably would have been underprepared as far
Mm.
as like keeping it seamless and keeping it fluid and engaging
Right.
for everyone in attendance. And I'm not ashamed to say that because it's my first event, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think it was going to be your first event at that price point,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Agreed.
it was just one of those things. But yeah, like now as we're moving forward, like I feel like there's less of a question mark around the logistics, and now it's really just more of a question of like how jiggy we can get. Like, oh, okay,
Right.
cool. So now like, okay, maybe we don't do exactly what we tried to do again, but like, I wonder what if we could get like a panel of people? What if maybe who could we get in contact with that might be a recognizable name? What would they
Right.
need? Like things like that. So it's just, bro, it's like step by step. Like this feels
Right.
like brick one. You feel me? Like it
Yeah.
literally just feels like brick one that is continuing to build like the higher part of the staircase. And
Mm-hmm.
dude, I'm game for it. Like I'm not in no rush.
Yeah. Facts. Facts. Facts.
Oh,
You know, it's
Kenzie's in
funny
the
because
building. What's up,
what's up,
Kenzie?
Mackenzie? That's awesome. So it's funny just bringing everything back around. Literally, what you just explained is feeding your bottom line, bro. That whole concept, we were
Yeah,
able to break
yeah,
ground, right?
facts.
Collect the data, and use that to empower our next event moving forward. You know, like we started with a low barrier of entry. You know what I mean? So that way we can gain access to the market by reducing the customer frustration of questioning the value of what they're getting for their purchase. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? We were able to eradicate that doubt. And now we low key building a community, and
yeah,
we have opportunities lined up, like
yeah, yeah.
based
Oh,
on based on what we was able to accomplish. You know, like the experience we were able to curate because we decided to step out on
oh,
faith.
bro, I gotta piggyback on that, bro, because you just said something that like I wish I had learned this younger. I mean, I know it pretty young, but like still. Um, uh, but
We
bro,
get what you said.
like to everyone that hears this, like understand that you literally cannot put a price on human connection, right? And so
Mm,
that's the other thing about doing things for free is that what you don't realize or what you can't quantify when it comes to like throwing an event for free or like hosting an experience for free is every person whose hand you shake
mm,
and who thinks well of you
mm,
afterwards is someone with unlimited potential and
mm.
unknowable connection. You feel me?
Wow.
And you can't pay money for that, bro. Like sometimes the fact that you don't pay money for it is what makes it 10 times better, you know?
Mm,
Because like there are folks, bro, I have a meeting tomorrow with the high level, 7+ figure, 8+ figure business owning individuals that are part of my mastermind group. I pay
mm-hmm.
them every single month so that
Right.
I can like sit with them and go to their events and all of that stuff, whatever. And it's like the difference between speaking with a friend and speaking
Mm,
with a therapist. You know what I'm saying? Like your friend, if you're speaking with a friend and they care about you, right? And they're with you actively as you're going through your problematic life,
right.
it's going to be a very different experience than if you go and speak with a therapist because this experience is going to be emotional and relational, and this is going to be a problem solving conversation with your
Right.
therapist. You know what I'm saying? And so for us, like, as we went into that event and came out of it, I went into that event having an awareness of and having some history with like the people, the company that owns the space that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
Came out of that event and our point of contact, Deja, she's like, yo, you have to come back. Like you don't have a choice. You get what I'm saying? And that's just off of being who we were and
Right.
having her in the room and having that opportunity to connect. And so like if doing an event for free is what gives you that chance,
Mm,
then take it. Because I might pay, let's just say, $1,000 all in to host a free event that puts me in touch and develops my relationship with the person that owns that event space, who 3 years from now is the reason I can get a big enough event space to hold 10,000 people that
right.
makes me $400,000. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. Right.
you never know. And so like if you can detach from the immediate return right now and really just focus on like the how deep you can really create the connections that come out of it, bro,
Mm,
like it's all a seed. Like it's literally all a plant. You just have to give it time to grow and like start bearing fruit
facts.
and just pour love into it from the front end. That's what we did, bro. Like that's all we did. We just had a vision. We were like, okay, let's pour some love into this, bro.
Yeah, facts.
If we ain't got the money, like especially if you ain't got the money to pour in, bro, like just pour the love into it.
Facts.
And bro, like I even now, bro, I mean it's days out. It's different. Like my life
Mm,
is different because of that event. You feel me?
damn, bro.
So I just, bro, he said, I don't know what you did, man, but now my ceiling leaking. I got you. Oh shit. Oh, Bands. My boy Bands is in here.
That's
Yo,
love.
what's
That's
up, bro?
love.
The Rav God
That's
gang. Hey,
love.
we
That's
try.
love,
We
bro.
try out here, bro.
That's
We try.
love, man.
Young is no.
Nah, man. But bro, that's incredible, man. I mean, just overall, like I said, I think we did very well. Um, I said my piece. I mean, there's some things that we could improve on.
Of course.
Um, there's always going to be room for improvement. You feel me? But overall, I'm proud of what we was able to do, man. As people just, I don't think people were going to believe it at this point, man. But we were strangers just a couple
Right.
months back.
Literally, which is insane. Which is insane. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. Like I was really driving home from the event and I was thinking about it. I was like, bro, how did that even happen? Like, how did this happen, bro? Like, this is insane. It was wild, bro. Straight
Yeah, bro.
strangers.
Yep.
Like mere weeks before we did the first bro. Oh, that's so funny.
Yes, bro. We were strangers, bro.
Yeah,
We
that's
didn't
so.
know each other, bro. Like that's crazy. But that just goes to show. It goes back to the rhythm, the formula. The synergy.
And the
It's
values, man. The
the
values.
value, right? It's man. You have to do the pre work, like we always talk about. Identify the pieces that you align with.
Yeah,
Make a move, have a conversation, and then come to a decision and go from there. It's really that in all essence, it really is that simple. You know what I mean? Granted, there's work that's involved. Obviously, we had to do a lot.
of
we
course,
had
of course,
we
of
had to put
course.
the work in. But man, when the stars align and it makes sense, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Don't be afraid to shoot your shot.
yeah,
That's something I'm really big on. Like even when it comes to asking for feedback,
yeah,
if you ask someone for support for their feedback on a plan or an idea, that is a form of collaboration,
yeah,
especially if they say yes. You know
yeah,
what I mean? You're lending a piece of your trust to them, and your guys are going to communicate. And if they give you some valuable feedback, now whatever that thing is made better because you took that first step. And
yeah,
most likely, that individual, besides face value, is going to be a stranger. You know what I mean? So, like, we can't be afraid to shoot our shots when it makes sense. I gotta
yeah.
I gotta make sure I put that caveat there when it
Facts.
makes sense.
And
You know,
but I mean, I mean, sometimes, bro, sometimes you don't know that it makes sense until because keep it a buck, bro, in the context of how this happened with you and I, that ain't make no
mm-hmm.
sense, dog. That make no sense. You understand
Make
that, right?
perfect sense to me, boy.
Bro, because let me just tell them the story really quick.
All right, go ahead,
So
bro.
Kavan and I spoke at a panel at like a church. It was out in what, like, not Leesburg, but kind of type area.
Yeah, it was out in the boonies. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where I met Corey. After the fact, Corey and I like circled up and we were chopping it up for a little bit.
I
And
think
he
Noah
met
was there too.
my girlfriend at the time, yeah. And then we left, and like you and I stayed in contact. And bro, I don't even know how. I just remember you asking me. You're like, bro, like, what do you think about like collaborating? Like, what if we did like a collaboration event? And this is like this is like within a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks of us having met. And I was like, and bro, but let me tell you, I heard you say that. I think you might have messaged, we could have been on the phone, I don't know. But you said that, and I said, and inside my head, I was just thinking to myself, like, dude, like, why the fuck not? Like, Corey seems like we had already discussed enough for me to know, like, oh, like this dude seems like there's enough common as far as the way that we see business and like the
Mm-hmm.
way for this to be something to explore. And I think like that's the part that it's step by step. Like when you say
Mm-hmm.
yes to something like that, right? Like it's like dating, like I'm not saying, hey, okay, yeah, like let's get married and like plan a merger and like go
Right.
public. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
Fact, bro.
bro,
Fact. You're
like
right.
let's
You're right.
explore it. Worst case scenario, you and I could have gone through the planning and we could have realized, hey, you know what? I don't think we see eye to eye on this, and then it wouldn't have happened. And I'll tell you what, you and I would still be homies.
That's
You
true.
know what I'm saying? So like sometimes it don't make sense starting out. You just need to
Mm-hmm.
go about it in a way that makes sense, right? Like don't put all your
Mm-hmm.
chips on the board for a stranger. Like that's
Right.
kind of foolish. But if you take it step by step and it's something that seems to be worth exploring, why not? Like what's the worst that's gonna happen? You decide it's not vibing and you don't do it. You
Right.
know? Like
Right.
and even if you go all the way through to the end, if you and I were on the back end of this event and I felt, you know what, that was a bad decision. Okay, what really happened? I'm
Right.
out the amount of money that I might spend on otherwise on like two pairs of shoes, you know what I'm saying? And I have cool new connections, and
Right.
an experience I didn't have before. So like it's just upside, way more upside than it is downside. But I think it's so easy to just like get narrowed in on the downside, that's all you see and then you don't do it. Nah,
Mm.
We
Damn,
can't afford that.
that's crazy,
Reggie,
bro.
what's up,
That's crazy.
Reggie?
I didn't even know you experienced it like that, man. I was so serious, bro. Like I
I
didn't. I
know
was
you
like,
were.
looking at,
I know you were, and
I
I
looked
was,
at your
bro.
content,
Like
bro. I was
I
like,
just like I was like, bro, like you're asking me this for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's not like I knew something compelled you in that way. You know, like I don't know what part of that of you that was, but as you asked me, I was like, some part of him is strongly compelling him to believe that this would go very well. Okay, I ain't got no reason to distrust you. I mean, shoot, you seemed alright. You
Your
know
brother
what I'm
pretty cool. I guess we can rock with some.
I mean, bro, like, my mom always told me, like, hey, man, say yes to everything, and then if it's bad, run away. Like, you know.
I respect
And,
that, bro. That's a good approach.
bro, I'm very happy with the consequences of that decision.
Damn, respect.
Cool place that we're in. Yeah.
Same. All right, man. It's been an hour, bro. We snapped.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, bro? Like, what's up, man? What's on your brain?
I'm sorry. This is just so funny. This is the shortest we've ever wrapped up together on live. And it was, bro, because he said, it's been an hour, bro. And I'm like, dog. Like, so our average live time for lives that were going to last an hour or webinars that were going to last an hour is about an hour 40. So
I mean, that's
I
right,
hear
bro.
you
That's
say that. I'm looking at it, I'm like,
He let
what?
that boy capping, bro.
6 minutes over? No way, we're actually like 34 minutes early. Like, that's wild. That's crazy.
Nah, bro. It's the what is it? I call it authenticating a relationship.
Oh yeah.
So at a certain point, like this is just kind of like off the cuff, but well, this is really me, but it's off the cuff
Yeah.
for the context of this conversation. But there's like different levels of connection, you know. So there's like stranger, and then there's like acquaintance, and then there's like potential friend, prospect, you know, like okay, considering now how we're going to move forward in this
Yeah.
relationship. And then you have a genuine connection where it's like, okay, we actually have a kind of a good understanding of each other and what our
Yeah,
goals
like I
are.
feel you. Yeah.
And then we authenticate. And then once you authenticate, it's like all the Lego blocks are together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you kind of have a full picture of this person now, not just an identity or projection that they're putting out there,
Yeah.
who they want us to see them as, and vice versa. So once you authenticate, it's like okay, everything matches up. After that, bro, it's raps.
Yeah.
It's raps. We can talk for obviously. It's normal for us now to talk like
Facts.
over an hour and a half, bro. Like,
Bro, if the phone didn't die, we'd be done. We'd be cooked. It'd be done, bro. It's so funny. Oh man. But
man,
again,
man, this is the other value of collaborating, man. When it's an effective collaboration and both partners are all in, you have the opportunity to build a friendship of sorts. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Where you're now gaining a partner whom will be there for you as a support system. You
Yeah.
know, they might not it doesn't necessarily have to be like breaking bread, but it's someone that you can go to and you know you're not alone in the journey anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said it so well, bro. Because at the end of the day, if y'all are collaborating, you guys are having some kind of commonalities in your experience, and
Yeah.
especially when it's in business, bro, that shit can get hard, like straight up. And
Yeah.
yeah, just knowing that you are at least starting or exploring and allowing the potential to start a relationship and a friendship with someone that gets that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rob yourself of that, bro. Do not, because it's not fun.
That's fair.
Trying to do
That's
it dolo is not fun or possible, for the record.
fair.
For the record.
That's
Yeah.
lit, man. That's lit, man. All right, so I'm gonna run through these high points, man, because we got quite a few of them.
Let's do it. Let's do
In
it.
terms of the value of collaboration. So when done effectively, paced out appropriately in a way that makes sense for both parties, and the value is equal or greater on each side, with an understanding, I gotta phrase it like that. Then you can reap the benefits and experience the value of collaboration. And based on this conversation, those are, shattering limiting beliefs of what you may not have thought was possible for your business, elevating your brand and your reach by expanding it to new audiences and giving other people an opportunity to grow through the experience that you create. You're able to build long-lasting relationships with new consumers or with your partner in crime in terms of collaboration. And you're also able to create space for new revenue in the future by collecting the data of doing something together and understanding how to work well with others in business.
Yeah.
Yes, that is how we harness the value, the power of collaboration, while just being dope individuals at the same time. Because at the end of the day, we gotta be who we are.
Not be nothing else, bro.
At the end of the day, man. And when it comes to evaluating the potential for partnerships and collaboration, you want to look at the potential. That is, how well do you align with their values? How much do you guys have in common? The expectation, which is the deliverables that you guys can execute on together through the conversations and meetings that you have, as well as how the synergy of how well that company is living up to the promise that they deliver in the market, as well as the business. And once all of those things are in place, whether they align or they overlap, there is a good chance that you can create something great together. And that's for them.
Amen.
And we are living proof of that. Big game.
Yeah. Straight up, man.
There's more. There is much more on the way, man. Much more on the way. And that's actually what we're about to discuss after this call. After this live. So, like I said before, my name's Corey, and I'm the brand champion of Champion Circle Enterprise, and we create products, resources, and services to help people and businesses grow their brand and business. All right.
There you go, man. It's Rav, working with professionals, business owners, organizations to grow with video content in various different means. And overall, yo, like we just care, man. Like we care about this game. We care about the folks in it. And so you're going to see a lot more collaborations from us in various different means that, seek that end. Brand Mastery was kicking it off, and I love the way it went, and we'll have some discussions around what the future is going to look like. But we'd love for you guys to be a part of it. So stay tuned, and as you go on about your journeys, my inbox is open, Corey's inbox is open. If I don't get back to you, I'm not Hollywood. I'm very rarely on this app, so please forgive me.
I'm not Hollywood.
I'm not Hollywood. I promise.
I'll probably please get me up.
If he's a shoe, I'm not. I'm San Diego. All right, I'm not. We chill on this side, man. We chilling. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all.
Man, we could do this all day, bro. That's love.
Rags.
Hey man, y'all stay motivated, stay faithful, stay in the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Find a way to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And in the moment, yeah.
Thanks. All right, y'all. Good night, man. Peace out.
Y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, bro. I'll call you.
Yeah.